Hello, if you want to watch exclusive lemon content on What If Naruto, then go to my Boosty. The first link in the description here contains such hot stories for adults, such as What If Naruto was a daddy for Sarada, or Kushina and Mikoto Vulgar Naruto Mommies. Follow the link and enjoy. I'm waiting for you.
Oh, come on, Dad, we don't want to sleep yet, complained a little 9-year-old girl, unruly black hair, red eyes like hers, and white complexion. This little girl was Mira Uzumaki, although her last name was sometimes different for others. Yes, Dad, we still don't want to sleep. Better tell about the hero of that tale, supported a little 8-year-old. Blonde hair like her father, with a few black locks, violet eyes with the result of the eye color of both parents, of a slightly tan tech, but not so much, but that made her stand out a little. And thanks to her hair that was messy from above, but smooth from below, it gave a clash between styles. This little girl is Yukari Uzumaki. No, it's time for bed now. They still have classes tomorrow, and if they don't fall asleep now, they're going to be sleepy at school tomorrow, she replied in a gentle voice. But at the same time, authoritarian, a 28-year-old man, with wild blonde hair and blue eyes, with a tan complexion. A great maturity could be seen on his face, and at the same time he could instill fear, adding that to his height of 1.90 m, who wore a tight white shirt that marked his toned body, along with an ambu pants and his typical ninja sandals of a red color. This was Naruto Uzumaki. Bye. We promise not to, Daddy, said Mirar, making puppy dog eyes. Yes, Daddy, we swear, Yukari supported also by making the same eyes as her older sister. The blonde just laughed softly at that. His little ones knew how to manipulate him, but no, they had classes tomorrow. So they had to sleep early. Or else, what kind of father would he be if he let his girls sleep late and sleep at school? He was going to refuse, but a voice interrupted him. Come on, dear, for this time you can tell them a story, mused the matriarch of the house, with a subtle little. Seeing the expression of her partner. Are you sure? Maybe they'll call us from school tomorrow to tell us they fell asleep. The blonde asked, only to see how his wife laughed at that. If I remember correctly, one of the two always did the same thing in his classes, and other worse things. The older black movie just swooned at the expression. From her husband. He was just a child, the Uzumaki replied with a bead of sweat and embarrassment. Just like them, the woman commented, only to see the blonde sigh. Well, I can't say no to these manipulative little faces, he said, looking at his daughters to see her. And neither do you, the blonde just smiled to sit on the bed that his girls shared. Well, once upon a time, there was a boy. Karena and only smiled, while seeing her family. The truth is, she never thought she would be happy again. But it was wrong, he got a second chance again, to be happy in life, and finally have a family. Honestly, I was very grateful to Naruto, as he was the one responsible for making this possible. He just kept watching, while he remembered how they got here. Flashback. The Fourth Great Shinobi World War had ended 3 months ago, but the repercussions were still going on all over the world. In every village, in every family, in every person. The lives lost in the war were more than everyone could have predicted. If one were to speak in more scientific or specific terms, they would say that at least 50% of shinobi had died on the battlefield, from simple chunins or hounins to living legends of each village or nearby. The war was not only taken over by the shinobi of the big villages, no, even ninjas from other lesser-known villages. Or even ninjas who abandoned their way in the first place to protect what they loved, perished in the field of battle, even some firm before the war broke out. Karena, and as had been the custom for a long time, was standing in front of the grave of Asuma Sarutobi, her partner when he was still alive. He did not die directly in the war, but he did so indirectly at the hands of Akatsuki. People never really thought that both of them were dating, since neither of them seemed to be interested in the other, but it wasn't like that. It just happened between them, their souls called to each other and hugged, both managed to feel good next to each other. Even if they did not openly show it to each other, they both loved each other. And as a result of that love, Mirai was born, the daughter of the fruit of his love. That's why today, she was still grieving her loss, since she would never see her daughter grow up. He just got up to take one last look. His grave, it's not that he left the village, No, it's just that he was finishing his weekly visit for today. He wouldn't come again until next week. She just took the carriage where her little girl was sleeping, and they left the cemetery. It was really sad for her to be in this place, after all, not only his wife. He died because of the war. But old friends and even students also died. Unfortunately, among the list of casualties, among the pile of names, the names of Shikakunara, Hinoichi Yamanaka, Choza Akimichi, Yashi Yuga, Neji Yuga, Kiba, and Nuzuka appeared at the time. Anko Mitarasi, Meito Gui, Sai, Sakura Aruno, and Sasuke Uchiha. Among others, such as Reikaikage, Tsuchikage, Sabaku no Kankuro, C, Killer Bee, and others, including Damage. Really, the war took the lives of thousands, but although it was cruel and rude to say it, with his death now the villages had become more united and peaceful, so much so that even now it was seeing ninjas from other villages with some normalcy, walking freely, or even new relationships between men and women from two different villages, that is, seeing a ninja from Konoha dating a Kunoichi from his Nagakure or vice versa, and so they are there. New relationships. As I was saying, it was cruel to say it, but maybe the war brought something good from her. She was very sorry for the loss of comrades and friends, but her sacrifice was not in vain, at least that's how she saw it. She stopped the moment she looked at him. Since he left the hospital, he has always come every day, always alone, with a rose for each of them. He was sorry to see him like this. The few times he managed to talk to him, he realized that he blamed himself for everything. Blamed himself for being born, for having caused the war, for the death of everyone. It really made her feel bad that, after all, she wasn't to blame honestly. This is what the shinobi world was like. This was the world in which each of them had to live. Everyone knew the possibilities when they went to war. Everyone knew they were in a 50-50 of living or dying. And that's how everyone was looking at him, but he wasn't. I didn't feel that way. I seriously doubt about talking to her, since for sure I was going to ignore her like she does with the others. As he said, the few times he bumped into him, it was just a few seconds or a simple greeting. And he already ducked his head at that. He'd better go, maybe he wasn't ready to talk yet, and he'd better leave it. But her plan didn't work, because when she tried to leave, her little girl started crying. She could only curse for that. I noticed how she seemed to regain consciousness, and turned to look at her. Karena and Sensei. I whisper with a muffled voice. Hello, Naruto-kun, I greet her. With a small smile, while noticing her facial features, or rather, noticed her dark circles. Do you want some tea? The black movie asked her company. Yes, nor is it much trouble, replied the Uzumaki. No, don't worry, he remarked kindly. To go to the kitchen. In the end, after wanting to escape, she ended up inviting the blonde to her house for a drink. Honestly, he thought he was going to refuse, but curiously he accepted without many ifs and buts. To tell the truth, I thought that maybe this was good, maybe I was already getting over the grieving stage. And he was coming to the idea that this can always happen, which, as he said, was good. Since then he wouldn't blame himself for all this. He took the tray, put the cups of tea, and put the cup of sugar in case the blonde wanted to sweeten his drink, and just crossed his arms to wait for the water to boil. But then he thought that maybe an appetizer wouldn't hurt to go with it, so he decided to put some cookies on a plate. Suddenly I hear her baby start crying. She must have been hungry for sure, that was the most likely without a doubt. Karena and Sensei, your baby is crying, Naruto said, pointing out the obvious. Yes, do me a favor, you can give her this, she asked the moment she took a pacha with breast milk. From a special small refrigerator that could keep her milk at room temperature, she took it to give it to her. Me, I asked Naruto with surprise. Yes, it's not that difficult, just load her up and put the bottle in her mouth. It's like you gave her a soda or she played in a bottle. I comment, looking at how the blue Oya stayed looking at the pacha, and then seeing her, and seeing the pacha again, she gave herself the. She came back and went to the room where her little girl was sleeping. Honestly, she could have gone to feed him and left another one on the side, but she decided to give that little task to Uzumaki. Maybe that way he could feel calm a little. She wasn't sure about that really. It just occurred to her that maybe with a baby in her hands, she could start feeling good. A few minutes passed, and she had already prepared the cups of tea, brought everything to the coffee table, and decided to wait. I hope. And I hope, and I hope. Already worried when she didn't hear anything, she decided to go and see what was going on, and when she arrived, well, She honestly expected something like that. When I got to the room, I just noticed how the blonde guy was sitting on the chair, with his little girl in his arms. Who was sleeping peacefully. She probably fell asleep after he finished giving her milk. Wow, for a second, I thought you had escaped with my girl, the Yui joked, getting the blue Ojia's attention. No, just that. After giving her bottle, she fell asleep in my arms, but I'm afraid to get up and wake her up. I whisper at the moment that the black movie laughed. I just walked to take her baby. And she laughed internally when she saw how the blonde got a little scared at. To see her move, and put her in her crib to let her sleep. I must say, it really seems difficult to take care of a baby, I comment watching the little one sleep. It really is. There are times when he wakes up in the night, and doesn't fall asleep until the next day in the morning. Other times he has me running back and forth. I guess it was easier when it was Kunoichi, he said to caress his treasure's face. But I wouldn't change it, you know, being a mom is the best thing that's happened to me so far. Besides that, I must be strong for her. I have to take the role of a father too, but for her I would do anything. I would protect her with my life, he confessed with a maternal smile, while watching her sleeping peacefully. The Uzumaki just silently watched his teacher. He just devoted himself to watching her smile while caressing her baby. He really loved her very much. And she also had a difficult time taking care of a child, a newborn, by herself. It was clear that it was not an easy thing to do. He felt bad for her. Asuma died even before the war started. Even before he knew that Karena and she was pregnant. Well, do you think we should have tea? Said the red-eyed one. With pleasure, he replied with a small smile, impressing the black movie a little. After all, it was the first time I really looked at a real smile, even if it was a small one. Thank you very much for the tea and the cookies, Kulina and Sensei. He thanked the Uzumaki at the door of the house. It was time to leave. Don't worry about that, Naruto-kun. It was nice to have some company for a change. It's almost always me and Mirai, he said with a small smile. Thanks anyway, and if you need anything, feel free to look for me, you know, to return this, I comment to the black movie. I'll take it into account, he replied, although he really didn't think he needed his help, but it didn't hurt to have extra help. And as he finished saying that, something was heard falling to the ground. Damn, he broke off again, I mumble angrily. Is something wrong, Karena and Sensei? He questioned the blue eye. Oh, don't worry, it's just one of the cupboard doors. Some screw fell out or something. I looked for it but I couldn't find it, so I put it back just like that. Sometimes it falls out suddenly. Although that's scary sometimes, more if I'm sleeping. I comment without giving it importance. If you want, I can see it to see what it is, I ask the blonde. Do you know about these things? I interrogate the woman, surprised. As much as calling myself an expert, no, just some things I declare. When you spend a good time in the hospital, you should look for some way not to get bored, I whisper looking at his teacher. Well, if it's not inconvenient for you, you can take a look at it. He only gave free passage for Naruto to enter the kitchen. He only saw the furniture door on the floor. Naruto took it to look at it carefully, and then he saw the furniture. The hardware was gone. Maybe he could buy one at the hardware store, but he noticed the wood, it was already there. Something soft, maybe it wouldn't work at all if I bought it. In short, the cupboard didn't really work anymore. Is there something wrong? He questioned the former Kunoichi. I am sorry to say this, Karena and Sensei, but the furniture is no longer good. I can buy another piece of hardware, but it is for sure that it will be returned. She replied looking as the black movie sighed. Great, another expense on the list, he commented to cross his arms. Well, thanks for watching it, Naruto, but now I guess it's going to stay like this. I don't have money to buy a new one. And I have some expenses to pay, I miss with stress. I really didn't expect this. Is everything okay, Sensei? Naruto asked to see the black movie sigh. Yes, don't really worry, it's nothing special, I'm just a little late with the rent payment. The money I receive from the pension is more useful for medicines, clinics, doctor's visits, and other things to make the baby well, she replied heavily. I know it's none of my business, let alone something I should ask, but Sensei, what about Asuma Sensei's family? Aren't they helping her? He questioned with some concern. As far as I knew, they had to help her, even if it was a little. After all, she was the mother of the first daughter of the one-time leader of the Tsunade clan. If they helped me or helped me before the war, they brought me food for a month, supported me in paying for the apartment, doctor visits and other things. But unfortunately, with more than half of the clan killed by the war, they have had their own problems. And now I see them on my own, although sometimes they bring me food for 2 weeks, it's more than I can ask from them. And as he told you, the pension money is going away, so I end up with debts. Of course, before causing any misunderstanding. Have you not thought about asking them for a place on the premises? He suggested the Uzumaki. No, to tell the truth, Asuma once told me that if we got to have children, it was better to raise them on our own. The Tsunade clan is strict in many ways. It seems that since Iris-sama became Hokage, they became kind of cretins, so to speak. They train children in all fields so that some achieve what Iris-sama did. So Asuma told me that the best thing was to be on our own. They have already offered it to me, but I feel that if I go with him, they are going to take me away from my little girl, confessed the blonde. I really thought that. I felt that going to the Tsunade clan district might mean never seeing his daughter again. Naruto just kept silent. He really disliked the idea of knowing that one of his teachers had problems. Already she had them by raising a girl alone, and having more. I wanted to do something to help her, to support her. Okay, but let's leave that for now. Those problems will be solved sooner or later. I thank you for seeing the Naruto-kun village, Karena and the blonde said. No problem, Karena and sensei. I guess it's time to go. He declared to leave the small window on the table and leave the house, being accompanied by the black movie. Goodbye sensei, thank you for everything, thanked the blonde, to leave the house and go jumping from roof to roof. Goodbye Naruto-kun, he said quietly, to lose sight of the blonde. Huh. Hey. The Yui exclaimed, looking at how in front of her door was the Uzumaki carrying a large box that had the image of a new cupboard. But what does this mean? He asked Tonic. It's your new cupboard, sensei, she replied matter-of-factly. But why? He asked Uzumaki again. Well, I know that maybe it's a sudden thing, I mean, to bring you a new piece of furniture like that out of nowhere. But it's just that I want to help you, sensei. Don't think I have something in mind. I don't want anything in return. Nor do I expect it, it's just. The truth is that I feel guilty about what happened with Asuma-sensei. Everyone tells me that it wasn't my fault, or anything that happened in the war, but sometimes I feel that it's not like that. If it wasn't for me, that Akatsuki guy would have never faced Asuma-sensei. And he was still alive, all by myself. I'm sorry, I want to help you for whatever cause. The black movie just looked at Uzumaki. She really felt guilty for everything. Even for Azuma's death. She didn't really blame him, and she never blamed him, as she said, this was the world, her world. The world that chose them. To live or die was everyone's goal, every day. So he honestly never saw Naruto as being to blame for Azuma's death. No one really did it, not even in this war. What's more, he was hailed as a hero by the entire shinobi world. Everyone in the village thanked him, and some even asked for his autograph. But he didn't look like that. I doubt about what to do. On the one hand, he was happy to have a new cupboard. The truth is, his cupboard was ready to fall down at any moment. And as he said, because of the little money he has, he can't buy a new one. And now they were giving him a new one. But he didn't want to take advantage, not of someone like Naruto. He was a nice guy, he just felt confused. I look at him for a few seconds. At the end I sigh to open the door. Okay, but I'm not going to accept it for free. Come on in. Sin just saw how the blonde guy came in with the new piece of furniture. Sighed once more, to close the door. Ready, the Uzumaki said with a small smile, finishing assembling the new cupboard of the black movie. Good job, I congratulate the Yui clapping. It was nothing, although I must say that it was good that he brought instructions, he commented looking at the piece of furniture. It was a little bigger than his sensei's, besides that this one was a completely white color, with gold-colored handles. It's nice and expensive. It wasn't much, the mother questioned. No, it wasn't really anything. The truth is that I have quite a lot of money. My parents left me a fortune, and every now and then I get a check for the books that Erosen wrote. And the store guy gave me a good discount for writing a paper where he said that was my favorite store in the village. He answered simply to the question. From her teacher. I thank you, Naruto, I really thank you for this. But I'm not going to accept it for free, I comment to put on her apron. So, as payment, I want you to stay for dinner with us today. More than a suggestion, this sounded like a demand on the part of the black movie. And I will not take no for an answer, he clarified when he saw that the blonde was going to refuse. Okay, I accept with a subtle smile. She started rearranging the dishes and so on, while the black movie started working on dinner, bringing out her culinary attributes. Acting normal, like this is something they've always done. And so a good time passed. Since that day, Naruto told the Yui that if she needed anything, even the slightest, she would not hesitate to go for her help, and the black movie took her word for it. From that day on, they both started spending time together. The Uzumaki came to her house to help her in one or another repair, either to fix some outgoing board, the ceiling or a wall, or to try to unclog the bathroom. He even sometimes helped her when she went to the village market, carrying the bags, while she took care of the baby. But it was not only in that sense, he even began to help her in the economic sense. When they went to the market to buy, he paid for everything. She even came to pay her rent without saying anything, also for the purchase of her baby's medicine, visits to the doctors, moreover. Even clothes and toys for her. But he also sometimes bought her clothes, or gave her money from time to time, or bought her other things, like a new stove, a new refrigerator, bed and so on. All these things without receiving anything in return. The truth is that it was very helpful for her that, I hated to admit it. But the help was welcome. Naruto's help in his life. And honestly, he was surprised that he didn't ask for anything in return for all that. At no time did he ask for anything. Much less tried to take advantage or something like that. He always kept a line. He no longer treated it by sensei, but by Karena and Chano, sometimes with the suffix san. But she felt that she should thank him in some way. So most of the time they ate together. She prepared lunch or dinner for both of them. She even helped him study for his Jounin exam, and when he passed, she made a little party for the three of them. Nothing more, something simple and quiet. For the two of them, their relationship was one of good friends, because that's how they saw each other, but that's what La Yui sometimes thought. Since others she felt that they were like a couple. But well, to them their relationship was normal, but in the eyes of others it was not so. To the other people, it looked like the two of them were dating. As a man and a woman, even some people thought that maybe they were going to have a child, because of how they acted sometimes. Since sometimes they saw the two of them debating whether or not to buy those clothes for the girl, whether they should paint the house a different color. And that kind of thing that seemed more like a couple. And that included the friends of both of them. All the guys thought that Naruto and Kurenai were really dating in secret. Although they didn't seem to hide it well. Some were really happy for them, such was the case of Lee, Ten, Hino, Shino, Shizune, Tsunade, Kakashi and Iruka. They, on the other hand, were happy to see that there was something between them, although of course, they did not know that they were just friends. On the other hand, there were Choji, Shikamaru, and Mata and Konohamaru. They on the other hand, were not very happy. Or accepted that idea of the two of them being together. After all, they felt that this was a total betrayal before them, and before the memory of Asuma Sarutobi. Right now, La Yui was at home, preparing lunch for her and Naruto. Right now the boy was at the market, buying some things with little Mirai. The relationship between them was good. And the truth is, Naruto has been very helpful in her life, in both of their lives, and she liked spending her time with him. It was better to always be alone with her baby. And sometimes she liked to be at peace, she loved her baby, but sometimes she couldn't stand her screams and crying. Not to mention that now that he is already a year and a half old, he already knows how to walk and drink some things. And sometimes he manages to talk sometimes, I just sigh wistfully at that. The first time I speak, he will always remember that day as if it had been yesterday. Flashback. I know, a flashback within a flashback, it's like a double flashback. It's been 12 months since I received Naruto's help. Since then, the Uzumaki almost always hangs out in the house, as sometimes he had his own affairs at the end. Today was Mirai's first birthday. The little girl could already walk with some difficulty, the typical one. Sometimes she tripped on her own feet, or ran fast and stumbled. She had prepared a small cake for 3 people. Since it would only be Naruto, Mira, and her. The others were unfortunately busy, some with missions outside the village, and in that group was the Uzumaki. However, he promised to come as soon as possible from his diplomatic mission with his Nagakure. A part of her really hoped that it would be like this, but considering the distance, she had her doubts about it. It was already night really. He had waited half an hour for the blonde, but when he saw that he did not arrive, he decided to light the candles. I didn't blame him. It was his job after all. I'd still save cake for tomorrow. When I was about to turn them on, the doorbell rang. "Who will it be?" he asked on the air. "Is it him?" He mumbled to go to the door, wasted no time and opened it. He was very surprised when he saw it. In front of him was the Uzumaki, only completely surrounded by chakra, a golden and bright chakra like the sun itself. Think that it is the mantle of the Rikudo Sennin, but a little more formal, something like the one he has in Boruto, but with a design more like the one at the end. "Sorry for the delay." The blonde guy who seemed to be breathing with agitation apologized. He just turned off his Rikudo Sennin mode to smile widely. "Wasn't he late?" he asked with pity. "No, don't worry, I was just about to light the candles now," he replied to let the blue Oya in. That relieved. "I thought I would not arrive on time," he commented, entering still in his Jounin uniform. He was typical of all the ninjas of that rank, only his was completely black. In addition to having metal sheets in places like ankles, legs, arms, forearms, in addition to some gloves with metal knuckles. "How was it at the mission?" he asked to take the blonde man's vest and hang it on the chest. "Well, all good by the way. Gaara and Tamari send their greetings, and a happy birthday to Mirai," he replied, as he removed the metal plates next to his long-sleeved shirt, staying only with a white short-sleeved shirt. "Oh, that's very kind of you," the red-eyed one said with a smile. "Yeah, and where's the birthday?" he asked with a small smile. "Let me go get her, she's been waiting for you," she commented to go get her baby. The Uzumaki took the moment to take out a scroll from her right bag. She was going to take out the gift. But then she heard the voice of the black movie. "And here's the birthday," she said with a cheerful smile to show little Mirai. "Oh, she's wearing the dress I bought her," she said tenderly to take the little black movie, who laughed when being charged. She was wearing a white dress, completely princess style, with small white shoes, plus a fabric headband with a flower on the right side. If she started throwing a tantrum when she tried to take it off, I put it on her to see how it fit. And when I tried to save it for when you came, she started crying. "You've made her spoiled," she commented with a subtle smile. "No, isn't that true, Mirai?" he asked the little girl who just laughed. "Well, since you're here, we have to celebrate the little one's birthday," she declared. And the moment the three walked a little to the kitchen table, the Yui grabbed the lighter and lit the candles. At the moment they turned off the lights to start singing happy birthday to the baby, but of course they did. With the help of the Uzumaki clones, after he made them disappear to eat the cake, they both gave Mira small bites. And she accepted them gladly, and after that, the blonde man got up, leaving the little girl in her mother's arms. "Well, it's time for the presents," she declared to take the scroll from her right purse again. She applied some chakra to the moment. That made a lot of presents appear. "Naruto, but what is all this?" I ask when I see about 10 gift boxes. "Well, the truth is that when I was sent to the other villages, I always asked the boys if they had any gifts for Mirai. And then they would give me some gifts. Gifts from him for her," he replied the moment he took the gift that Gaara gave him. "They gave them to me because they say it's the least they can do for me, besides giving me an apartment in each village, but that's another thing. I'm thinking to bring the gift closer to the black movie. Does this bother you?" she asked with a little nervous smile. "No, it doesn't bother me at all," he replied to look with a smile at the blue eyelid. "However, we will have to thank you for this. It's very kind of you," he stated to receive an affirmation from Naruto. And with that said, they proceeded to open everything up. All the gifts, one by one. The first was that of Gaara, who gave her an elegant dress with touches of the village of La Arena, being of a color between beige and light coffee. The second one was a gift from the Mizukage, who gave him an ice sphere, that had a small cone covered with snow inside, next to a dark sky with an aurora borealis. The third one was a gift from the Reikikage Darui, who gave him a small costume of the Kumogakure ninjas. The fourth one was a gift from the Tsuchikage Kurotsuchi, who gave her a diamond bracelet with characteristic touches of the rock village. The fifth, to her surprise, was a gift from Kakashi, the current Okage of the village, who gave her another dress. Then came a gift from a girl named Sasami, who gave him a flute. Another one by a certain Karen, who happened to be a distant cousin of Naruto, who gave her another dress. But that this apparently was part of the main branch of the Uzumaki clan, which apparently she and Naruto were the only ones of that clan, so she understood that this dress was very important and valuable. Then it came from a girl named Shin, who gave him a necklace which was apparently blessed by the gods, and would always protect her from all evil, besides blessing her with beauty, grace, and modesty. The ninth, to the surprise of both, ended up being a katana, given by Mifune, the leader of the Iron Country, along with a note explaining that this sword was forged from a strange iron. And powerful, by itself it was sharp enough to cut giant rocks, but if chakra was applied to it, it became very dangerous. So they left that for the future, for now she could only play with dolls and stuffed animals. And the last one was a gift from a certain Tsunami, Tazuna, and Inari, which was a small model of the village, of how it looked before everything that happened. Well, I guess that's all of them, the Black Movie replied. Only the one of my Funsen I would keep until Mirabi was old enough to handle her without getting hurt. Although I was thinking about an idea of how to make her disappear really. But it was a gift given by someone who had a rank like Cage, so to speak, it would be disrespectful. No, mine's still missing. Naruto declared to take another scroll from his right pocket and make a stuffed animal appear. Only this was a stuffed animal that had the image of the Kyuubi, rather, of Kurama, with a chibi version, small and tender. "This is for you," he said at the moment he handed the teddy to the little one, who laughed to take it in her arms while laughing happily, making the hearts of both shrink at such a sign of happiness. "Do you like Kari-o?" the Yui asked. "Say Muto," the little red-eyed one replied with a big smile. "How do you say my heaven?" said the older red-eyed one. "Thank you very much, Daddy," the little girl thanked happily. However, the two adults only put on 10. At that, neither of them expected that, they both stared at each other. The moment a small blush appeared on both their faces, they just averted their gaze. This had become awkward for both of them now. After a few minutes, the Uzumaki was washing the dishes. This was helping him a little bit to forget what happened. Although he was really happy, a part of him was happy to be called that by the little girl, he liked it a lot. But a part of him told her that it was wrong. After all, Asuma was the one who should have heard those words, he should have been the one who received them. "He's already asleep," the woman came in, saying, taking the blue Oya out of her thoughts. "Okay, I'm done washing the dishes," he replied to turn off the tap and dry his hands. He turned to look at the Black Movie, she was folded her arms in the door frame. The two saw each other for a few seconds, blue against red they collided. "And what do you think?" the Yui asked. "About what?" "It's nothing to think about, it's just that she made a mistake, she's still too small to understand it," the blonde replied calmly, to see how the movie. Black under the gaze. "You're right, she's just a little one, she doesn't understand anything yet. I support the moment I was watching Uzumaki pick up her things. Yes, she's a girl still," he said to walk beside her, and stopped. "By the way, Kakashi-sensei. The Okage ordered me to go to the Triple Frontier. It seems that there are some mercenaries causing problems around the place. And I must go to see and take care of the threats. I'll leave first thing tomorrow, maybe I'll be back in 2 weeks," I comment, staring at the red-eyed face. "Are you going alone?" Concern was latent in his voice. "No, I will go along with a team from Ambu, in addition to meeting with Uesuna ninjas," he replied calmly. "Be very careful, please," he asked, staring Uzumaki straight in the eyes. "I'll have it, if you'll need anything, here's a scroll with something of money," he pointed as he placed one of his many scrolls on the lamp table. He only opened the door to see the black movie one last time. I'm leaving, see you in 2 weeks. The blue Oya said goodbye to close the door. Just come back, please, she asked sadly. The black movie, I didn't want him to leave them too. The flashback ends. The day Naruto left, he really kept thinking about what he said and what he was feeling at that moment. Maybe the fact that someone really cared about her and did something made her start to see Naruto as a man. And honestly liked to see that he loved his baby and that the girl accepted him. And especially that he never really asked for anything in return for everything he had done with them. Those 2 weeks she was thinking carefully about how to act or what to say so as not to scare or hurt him. But the day he promised didn't come. Maybe he was late and he would arrive the next day, but he didn't come either. Maybe he got distracted by something, but he didn't come the next day either, or the next, or the next, or the next. 2 more weeks, almost a month away from the village, and in all that time, he had a bad feeling. And unfortunately, that concern became a reality. One day when I was shopping, I noticed a lot of ninjas jumping from roof to roof, all heading to a single point. But it wasn't just them, medical ninjas were also going. With fear, and holding his daughter tightly, he decided to follow them, and when he arrived at the place, he found the displeasure of seeing Naruto kneeling on the floor, with clothes torn to pieces, full of dirt, and with traces of blood. But besides seeing that his right arm was missing. That day, his heart completely stopped, and tears came to mind as he watched as he was taken from emergency to the hospital. From what I managed to find out later, is that apparently a group of radical ninjas, followers of Madara Uchiha and Akatsuki, managed to get hold of some of the power of the Uchiha and the Bijus, which ended in a war to the death between them and Naruto. And the result was that they were exterminated completely for the war hero. For a month she went to visit him or to the hospital if he had been injured, but as expected, she managed to recover and get out of this. Every day that passed, she came to see him, brought him food, or helped him. Thanks to that, they had put aside what happened before they left. And after he was discharged, she helped him. Now she was the one who went to his house every day to see him. She helped him to eat, to clean, and although it was embarrassing to say, she even helped him to bathe sometimes. It was a challenge really, but she liked it in the end. And just a month ago, Tsunade gave him an arm. It sounds crazy, but she created an arm for Naruto. They implanted it, and well, now he was like new, only he was wearing bandages to hide it, since his new arm was a gray color. Completely, and he didn't like that very much. Anyway, they really have been through a lot together. Maybe it was time to try to talk about this with Naruto. I mean, he was a cute guy. Almost all the women and young people were dying to get his attention. He is sweet, loving and kind, he cared about both of them, he fought for the safety and well-being of both of them. And honestly, look, and I needed a figure father in his life, and only he seemed to fulfill that. Not only did he do it for that, maybe it was time for him to be happy again. And he was with Naruto. She came out of her thoughts when she heard the doorbell of her house, put everything aside, and put the food on small flame. Took off her apron and put it on the perch. And he opened the door. Shikamaru, I whisper to see Azuma's former student. Kurena and Sensei, I salute the black hair. May I come in? Asked the black-haired man. Sure, come in, he said to let Nara stop, who thanked to see the house. It was really remodeled, painted walls, new window frames, all the furniture was new and expensive. Even now I had one of those new TVs that are the latest in technology. Everything was different from how the last time, almost 2 years ago before the war started. Do you want something to drink? I have tea, water, juice, or if you want a beer, he offered his former student. No, I'm fine like that, he replied without taking his eyes off the place. And tell me, what is offered to you? She interrogated the black movie, sitting in an armchair in the living room, being imitated by the Nara. Sensei, what is your relationship with Naruto? Shikamaru blurted out without further ado, to see a surprised expression on the red-eyed one's face. What do you mean by that? He questioned seriously. What I meant, what is your relationship with Naruto? Are they a couple or something like that? He questioned the Nara seriously. Why do you ask that, Shikamaru? Kurena asked and staring at the Nara, who sighed. Listen, Sensei, I really disapprove of you and Naruto having anything. At first, When I found out that he started helping her, I let it go. That's how Naruto is, always helping others. And the truth is, I'm glad, as you know, since we returned from the war, and you knew how many and who died. You felt responsible for all those deaths. Although no one blamed him, I never blamed him for anything. That's our life, it's the shinobi life we decided to take. Living or dying is part of our destiny. But he didn't take it that way, he blamed himself for everything, and when I found out that with you he seemed to be back to his old self. I was glad, and when I found out that he helped you in everything, I was also glad, but little by little they started running rumors that you and he had a relationship. At first I didn't take much notice of it, just gossip, and that's it. But when I myself saw how the three of them were walking together, shopping or going from one place to another, I began to have my suspicions. And when Naruto came back from that mission, and I saw how you took care of him, I realized that what people said wasn't wrong. You two have a romantic relationship, and I don't like him at all, Shikamaru stated seriously, staring at her teacher's expression, which was also one of absolute seriousness. You know, I really can't tell you what my relationship is. Relationship with Naruto, since I don't know. I don't know what relationship we have, and if you want to know, it makes me happy to be together with him. I am happy next to him, when he takes care and spends his time with Mirai, and when he also spends it with me. I like it when he is next to us. I guess I want it, no, rather I want it. I don't know if this is love, but I'd like to find out. I know you're asking this, because you don't want to think or know that maybe I'll forget to assume, but it's not like that. He pointed to a photo of the Sandame's son. He's always going to be here and here, she declared, touching his forehead and heart. A part of me is always going to love him. I could never forget him, and if you remember right. Look, and he was born thanks to that love. But he left early, and it's not that I blame him for leaving, or Naruto, I never blamed him for that. It didn't even cross my mind. A part of me will always love and remember Asuma as the good man he was, and for the little happiness he gave me before he left. But I must move on, Shikamaru. Possibly I would have managed on my own without Naruto's help. I don't deny that possibility, but it wasn't like that. I love Naruto with all my heart. I'm glad he came into my life, and I really would like to know if this is something temporary or lasting. And I won't know if I don't try. Remember that I'm not only Asuma's ex-partner, nor the mother of her daughter, I'm also a woman. I need to be loved, I need to love someone, I want to be happy, and together with Naruto I am, she declared with seriousness and determination in his voice, looking at the facial changes of the Nara. We all need to get ahead, look at Sumiana, they have both tried to get ahead despite Kiba's death. Or Hinata, who is now the leader of the Yuga clan, Ochoji, Hino and you, who also need to get ahead, despite the death of their parents. Everyone in the world is trying to get out. We will always remember our loved ones who are no longer with us today. We have to move forward, and for me, I can achieve that next to Naruto. If you still have respect for me, for Naruto, for me, Mirai, and for Azuma, you must understand this. But if it's not like that, forgive me, but I won't care. In the end it's my life, Shikamaru. I don't have to answer to you or anyone. I'm an adult, and I decide what to do with my life, and what to do for the sake of Mirai. And we will achieve that if we are together. To Naruto, he stated firmly to get up and walk to the door. And now, if you don't mind, I want you to leave my house, please. As I said, whether you accept this or not, I will move on with my life, the Black Movie asked firmly. The Nara just got up to walk to the exit. I look for 1 second in the eyes to her teacher, she was angry without a doubt. He just opened the door to leave, and left without saying anything. The Yui just closed the door to Sai, she turned to see Asuma's picture. She was always going to love him and remember him. A part of her heart was always going to have that present. But now his heart was looking for happiness and love again, and he felt that by being close to Naruto, being by his side. Watching him play and smile while he is with Mirai, and the fact that I always respect her, that and among other things made. I began to gradually feel something for the Uzumaki. I will always want to call Suma. But I also have to go out and be happy. I know you understand, I will never forget you, I whisper softly, to go and watch lunch again. Karena, and was just looking from the door frame at the blue Oya washing the dishes. She was humming a children's song that she learned by watching those baby shows that they put out on TV. Something she learned to be able to calm the crying. Of looking and sometimes, and that it worked. I just walk slowly, to hug him from behind, surprising him a lot by his act. Huh. Karena and Chan, why are you doing this? He interrogated Naruto, trying to see the red-eyed one. Her height difference was obvious, she was 1.70 meters tall, while the blonde was 1.85 meters tall, so his arms reached the middle of his stomach. I just felt like doing it, she replied, burying her face in his back, to smell his scent. Did something happen? Asked the blonde guy, who dried his hands, to turn around and hug the black hair, putting his chin on her head. I like you, the Black Movie said, leaving Uzumaki speechless. What did you say? Naruto asked, thinking that I hear wrong. I said I like you, the Black Movie said again. She raised her head, looking directly into Naruto's eyes. I like Uzumaki Naruto, I just really like you, he repeated again in a soft voice. Are you serious? Naruto asked, taking the red leaf's hands. Very seriously, he replied with a small smile. I like you too, she confessed, to also put a small smile on her face. I like you very much, I love spending my time with you and Mirai, I adore being with you. You guys. I love them both with all my heart, and I must say that I feel happy to know that you feel the same as I do. Since I had chickened out before, I didn't want you to think that I was looking for something, and the truth is that I never looked for it. I wanted to help you because it was born from my heart to do it, I never wanted anything to. It changed, more than seeing a smile on the face of both, but little by little I fell in love with you. And when I almost died on that mission, I swore that I would find a way to tell you, and to earn a place in your heart. I'm not trying to replace Asuma-sensei, or make you forget him, or anything like that. I know that a part of you still loves and misses him, and I understand that well. And like I said, I don't want to replace him, or anything like that, I want to be with you regardless. Because I'm really happy when I see you, when I hear your sweet laugh, and I see that beautiful smile that drives me crazy. And look there, I adore that little girl more than anything in the world. I wish to stop 23 hours a day with you, and the rest just for us. He said, to run his fingers over the beautiful face of the Yui, who was still smiling. I want a world with you, to wake up every morning by your side, to spend every moment of our life together. To see how Mira grows up, and with the love of her mother and a father. I want the whole complete package without a doubt. I can't swear that everything will be like a fairy tale. Sometimes there will be good and bad days, and I want to spend them with you. It doesn't matter what other people say, none of it matters to me, you know. And if you don't feel comfortable with this, we can find another place to go and live. They say that Tsuna is good in summer, the blonde joked, making the Black Movie laugh, who only tightened the hand grip. I love you, Uzumaki Naruto. And I to you, Karena and Yui. The two of them only came closer to kiss each other, a gentle and delicate kiss. The Black Movie put her arms around the blonde guy's neck, and he put his back, while they both felt at peace. They felt a warmth emanating from both, they were happy in a few words, they were just happy. Both separated after a few seconds to see each other and catch their breath. They glued their foreheads, finally they felt loved again. They just laughed while they both cried with joy, they just gave each other another kiss, only this one was a little longer and more passionate. They separated again, and they saw each other in the eyes, they both wanted it more than anything, they both wanted to feel united. Again they kissed again, only this time the blonde carried her to go to the armchair. But not before passing by the table where there was a photo of Azuma, to turn her upside down. They reached the armchair, she sat down, while the Black Movie sat on her lap. Without breaking the kiss, they stayed like that for a few minutes. Kissing to then separate, and stare at each other. Make me yours, Naruto, I want to be only yours, ordered the Black Movie with desire. Kulina, and, as soon as he finished saying the name of his beloved, he began to take off her top clothes. Lemon Salo no Jutsu XD. A new day came, the Black Movie only chewed to stretch out on the bed, she opened her eyes only to see that blonde mane. She smiled to lie on Naruto's chest, she only listened to his heartbeat, she hugged him and put her right leg on him. However, these acts made the Uzumaki begin to wake up, he just felt something on his chest, turned around, and could see her. The black girl was smiling broadly. Good morning, said the blue eye to the Black Movie. Good morning, La Yui returned the greeting, to approach the blonde, and give him a kiss. They both smiled at that. And good morning to you too, little Naruto, mused while caressing the little friend of the blonde with. What can I tell you? It's a normal thing, I whisper the Uzumaki. I know, and it doesn't bother me. What do you say if you have a quick one? And then I'll make breakfast, he proposed mischievously. Yes, you know how to convince me, he said with a smile to kiss her, just as they were both covering themselves with the savannah. To have relations again. The black girl was only smiling while she was making breakfast. She was wearing a red robe to cover her naked body, while the blonde was taking a bath. I was preparing some starry eggs, with bacon, toasted bread, coffee, orange juice, and a fruit salad. Everything was already on the table, only the eggs and bacon were missing, and of course, Mirai's meal could not be missing. I had prepared oatmeal for her along with applesauce. Sometimes she still drank milk, but she was already getting used to it. To eat solids. The doorbell of his house rang. He just put the eggs and bacon on small flame, besides putting a cover to make them better. He went to open the door, and as he did so, he was very surprised to see Shikamaru. Shikamaru, she said, surprised to see the black-haired one. I'm sorry to bother you since very early, Karena and Sensei. The Nara apologized upon seeing the black-haired girl in a nightgown. Honey, who is it? Naruto asked, entering the scene, while putting on a t-shirt. Silence took over as the two men stared at each other. The black movie got nervous when she saw that both of them were tense. She was scared when she thought that maybe both of them could fight. Naruto, the black-haired man greeted. Shikamaru, the blonde man said seriously. We can talk. The truth is that it is convenient, he commented looking at the blue. Oh yeah. Sure, come in, he declared. The black-haired man just walked in, followed by the three of them sitting down. The Nara sighed to stare at the couple. I just wanted to apologize for everything. I've been thinking it over, or rather, I opened my eyes. You are both adults, and it is clear that I have no right to forbid you to go out. I was angry to think that both of them were betraying Asuma-sensei. I get angry watching my best friend try something with my late teacher's wife. Obviously he didn't see it right, but I was thinking about everything yesterday, and I apologize. I'm sorry, he apologizes. The black eye, at the moment when Naruto and Kurenai saw each other in the eyes. Shikamaru, listen, both Kurenai and I, we didn't think to forget about Asuma-sensei. I'm not looking to replace him, not unless Kurenai forgets him. Only the two of us want to write our story together. I love her very much, and for her I would give my life, for her and Mirai. And if you are worried that Mirai will take me as her real father, we thought about telling her when she is old enough. We both know what this relationship implies, and more considering that Kurenai is the mother of a clan member as she was assumed. It will cost a lot, and it is more certain that others will object to this, but the truth is that we do not need the approval of anyone to be happy. Naruto stated that at all times he was holding the hand of the black movie. As I told you yesterday, Shikamaru, a part of my heart is always going to love and remember Asuma. But I must move forward and be happy again, and I find that by being next to Naruto, Lyui said with a smile. I know, and I'm sorry for not understanding it sooner. The truth is that it makes me happy that the two of you feel happy next to each other. That's why I just came to apologize. Even if I refused, I understand that you would still be together, she commented to get up and see the new couple. Now if you'll excuse me, I have other things to do, see you another day. The Nara said goodbye to go out on his own, leaving the two lovebirds who just saw each other to smile. I just hope that others will take it as he did, Kurenari commented. They are our friends and colleagues, but honestly, I don't care if they accept or not. I only care about you and Mirai. As long as we are together, nothing else matters, I declare to give her a little kiss. I love you, Uzumaki Naruto. She declared with a smile as she hugged him. End of the flashback. After that night, they both decided to start living together as a family. Of course, it wouldn't have mattered to her to live in her apartment, but Naruto said no, they should have their own house from now on. So the Uzumaki ended up buying one, which she was really grateful for, as she ended up pregnant on her first night. She had forgotten that she was back in the day, and well, they had little Yukari, who was a year younger than Mirai. Soon after I found out I was pregnant, they got married. It was a voice. Small and simple, with few people, almost all her friends and acquaintances attended. But unfortunately people like Konohamaru and Nada did not, the two of them did not accept their relationship at all in the end. But as Naruto said, that didn't matter to keep them from getting married. Look and accept Naruto as his father. Well, since I was a little girl, I look at him as her father, and just a few months ago, they told her who her father was, her real father, since sometimes she asked about him, why he didn't look anything like Naruto. And why some people told her that she was a Sarutobi, when she considered herself an Uzumaki. At first, she did not want to accept that, as expected, she started crying denying that, but in the end, she could understand it well. She visited Asuma's grave, paid her respects to him, and told him that she would have liked to have met him. And that just like with her mother, he would be in her heart as her real father, but that she also looked at Naruto like her father, and to forgive her, but she also loved Naruto too much not to consider him that way. There were still people who were not happy to see them together, but that didn't really matter to both of them. The only thing important to them were their little princesses, for whom they would do anything to keep them safe. Yes, no doubt some of them have had their little problems, but they have managed to get ahead, together at all times. She just left her cup of tea on the table, at the moment she heard the blonde coming down. Have the girls fallen asleep yet? She asked her husband. Yes, although they didn't want to do it much, so I told them that if they fell asleep, I would take them to lunch tomorrow wherever I wanted. He replied to sit next to his wife and hug her. The conscious ones, you know a lot, then they're going to be daddy's girls, the black movie declared, resting her head on the blonde's chest. I pamper them a lot. Was I the one who fought with another mother because one of them wanted such a doll? He asked with a smile, to see his wife? That's different. Yukari had seen her first, and that spoiled little girl snatched her from her hands. I just take care of our daughters. She replied with embarrassment, only to hear how her husband laughed at her, so she gave him a small slap on the chest. Don't laugh at my Naruto, she declared to be hugged tightly. Don't worry, I whisper as I patted his shoulder. I really love this, she declared serenely. Me too, replied the black movie, reinforcing the hug. Thank you Naruto, really thank you for all this, for being a great friend when I need it the most, for always being by my side, for taking care of us. I thank you for everything, for being a good husband, and a good father, my little thing for giving. Give her a kiss full of love. I am the one who thanks you for everything, for helping me, for being with me at all times, for allowing me to be happy by your side, and letting me be the father of two wonderful girls. Thank you for everything, thanked Naruto, to give him another kiss. At the moment they were both smiling. Hey, it's been a while since we've done it, and the baby factory is open. I comment with a mischievous smile, the black movie. So, well, I guess I have to go to work, he said to lift his wife in bridal style, to be 41 years old. His wife still had a heart attack body, so much so that sometimes she got angry when other men or teenagers they were looking at, she had big breasts, and a big ass, a product of her 2 pregnancies. Okay, but let's not make too much noise, the girls almost found out about us last time. And they are not yet at the age to know how babies are made, she declared while being carried by her husband. Don't worry, I'll put the muffler seals on this time, I whispered going up the stairs. Okay, so we have work to do, I teased to give her a kiss, getting lost on the stairs to go to her room with her husband. Without a doubt, this was not what she expected, but to be honest, it was better than what she thought her future was going to be. She had in mind that she was going to live alone with Mirai, both of them nothing more. A fate that the truth was sad, and that she would not have liked. But fate smiled at her, or maybe Kami-sama has cheated on her, and sent her the best man that could exist. His life with Naruto has been wonderful, so much that even they had a beautiful little girl, who was also his whole life. He loved them both equally, he never showed favoritism. And is that how to do it, if both were important? As he said, one part was always going to love and remember Asuma, and so far, they have both fulfilled it. At no time did they reject the idea that Mira knew her real father or knew who he was. Nor have they denied that she has contact with Konohamaru or anyone else who was close to Asuma. But they protected her sometimes from those people who didn't accept their relationship yet. She was a woman in the end, she also wanted to be loved again, and luckily, she found someone who could give her that, and much more. She loved Naruto, and wanted to spend the rest of her life with him. If someone proposed to travel to the past, and save Suma so that they would be together, and raise Mirai. Perhaps at the time I would have accepted it. But not now, honestly, she would not accept it. She was happy now, really happy. She felt loved by her 2 daughters and her husband. She had a wonderful life. She was a mother of 2 great girls, and a wife of a man who always treated her like a queen. No, I wouldn't change this thing I had at all. I was happy, very happy being Naruto Uzumaki's wife, and from the first moment. I wanted to be his wife, and I was always going to be Karena and Uzumaki. End of the story. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next theories. The link of the creator of the story will be in the description. That said, see you in the next theory. Bye.